Testing, testing. Testing, testing. All right, everybody. Welcome, welcome. Happy Thursday. It's week 32. I'm Paula Montgomery. Welcome to Bead Stash Challenge. I'm from Desert Cat Creations, home of the Bead Stash Challenge. And I want to welcome you to our week 32 design reveal. Today we're going to make an anklet. It's going to be very colorful, but you know, fairly straightforward, simple design, hopefully. Hopefully what I have in mind works, because it doesn't always, you know, we'll have to adjust if that doesn't work out. Anyways, I hope you all had a great time on Sunday for our quail kit make-along. And you can find that video on YouTube, as well as it's still on Facebook for the next 24 days or something. I do have kits if you want them. They are available on my website. If you look at the post with the picture of the kit, it has a link to both buying the quail kit and to the video, okay? So, and if you have any questions, always feel free to ask, and I can work with you on that. If you love the quail but don't feel like making them, I do sell pre-made ones. I'll have to double check, because I don't know if it's showing on the website, but they are individually priced. You don't get a special price for the whole kit. It's per item, and that's the baby, the middle one, and the adult, or yeah. So anyways, those are there. All right, let's go ahead and get started, because we are running a little late today. All right, let's zoom in. All right, I just want to remind everybody what we're making. So we are making an anklet. So an anklet, you know, is basically a longer bracelet, right? Fits around your ankle. For most people, you know, it's going to be at least 8 inches or bigger. So it depends on the size of your ankle, or unless you're making it for a kid, then a regular bracelet size might fit just fine. But we are going to use that. So we have to use green in our design today. And I'll show you the beads in a minute that I'm going to use. We're having to use lapis, which is not a problem for me. I love lapis. We have to use a toggle clasp. And we're designing something with primary colors. So let's see what we've got in our little bowl today. All right. So we're going to use some beading wire. So I've got my crimps, and I've got some spacers. I have some lapis heishi beads, so, you know, I wanted something small. Not that I don't make chunky anklets, because I do sometimes, but let's go ahead and get that out. All right, so we're going to use some of these lapis beads, right? And then, oh, here's our toggle clasp. So I found a somewhat smallish toggle clasp, okay? I'm gonna use that. Set my bowl aside. And then what we're gonna work with is, I got these, the Gem Show, and I thought they would be kind of fun. They're actually bead frames, so, you know, you could just use them by yourself if you wanted a nice open spacer. But we are going to put some beads in them. So since I needed to use yellow, red, blue, and green, I thought, why not just do a rainbow, right? You know, obviously my lapis is blue as well, but so these little beads are from Beadoria, Stars Beads and Beadoria. And I think they are going to fit in the middle of those beads, but let's find out, okay? If they don't, then we'll be using the spacers a slightly different way. Now, I've tried using these with some 3mm gemstones. Well, they were cat eye beads, and they're inconsistent in sizes, so it became, you know, a very cumbersome, just keep trying until it worked kind of project. But I did eventually get enough of them to make a bracelet, which I guess I should have brought out here today, but I'm hoping these crystals will be a little more consistent. The end of my... Let's get some of these pulled off. Yeah, we've got our toggle clasp. Okay. So we're going to try using medium, just regular medium soft flex. I didn't, you know, white would probably be fine, but we're going to use silver, and that'll be good because if for some reason these things don't quite work like I want them to. These no. I was gonna say. So, you know, when you string these up, so the string goes the long way, so it ends up looking like a kind of like an eye, right? So, you know, you want to go through one side, but then you have to get the wire. So I'm going to poke the wire out one part of the middle so I can get this bead on. Right. And now comes the moment of truth. Does it fit? Does it fit? And I'm not sure they do. Whoa. Okay. Now, you know, it may be that this particular one doesn't fit. Let's see if we can, I mean, we'll try it the other way. We'll just try lining up the holes and seeing if that'll go in. It may have gone in far enough. Now, you know, it may not sit flat here. Well, I was a little disappointed that that didn't work better. Now let's see if we can get the wire through. Come on. Okay, so we may have to try something else, guys. All right. Okay. Maybe it's just that bead, because these may not be all the same size, you know. Let's see if it's possible too that my metal things are not exactly even. Let's see, that one act like it wanted to go in. Let's see if we can line up the holes in that bead. All right. Did I get the holes lined up? Not quite. All right, let's see if we can twist that. And it wants to come up. Well, that's pretty disappointing. Now my wire was stuck here. All right, so apparently it is not going to work. So, all right, we'll just use the we're just going to use these as spacers then. All right. All right, so that's what it's going to look like. It's like that one still had some tumbling material there. All right, so I'm going to use my lapis as my blue. Not that I don't have blue here too, but I'll use it as my dark blue. Save those for another project. Sorry, forgot my spacers, huh? See what we ended up here with. They're going through the rainbow once, all right? And those are still kind of fun spacers. You know, I suppose, you know what, I didn't think about that. I probably have silver spacers that might fit in there. Not as much fun as having something else, but let's see. Yeah, those would fit in there just fine. So let's, I don't like the wire showing through there, so I am gonna go back and we are gonna put a silver spacer in there. Now let's see, those are, yeah. I had two different sizes of spacers. Let's see, I think these ones might be too big. Actually, no, those will fit just fine. All right, we're gonna use the bigger ones then. And it'll just be a cool looking bead, right? So, all right, let's. So, again, I gotta get my wire so that I can place my bead in there. Usually these spacer beads have big holes. So, that ends up looking cool, huh? All right. Let me dump some of these out. And I'm going to start that there. Sorry that easier for me to flip the bead around. Actually, that's fun. Let's see if I can. There we go. I can hold it in there. Woohoo! All right. Oh, I am liking that, actually. I'm so happy to find something that finally works. I really thought gemstones would be fun, but you know, I guess the cool thing is you could do a like a gold bead or a copper bead and have it, you know, be slightly different, or gunmetal would work too. I thought I was being so clever, but apparently. Hold it in place. Hopefully we have all the holes go in the same direction. All right, green. Then we need our lapis. And look what we got going here, guys. Woohoo! Blue. All right. You're getting a bright, sunny design here. It's much quicker now that I have a bead that actually fits in here. I'm still a little bummed that those little rainbow beads didn't fit in here, because I thought for sure they would. All right, need more. All right, I need my red bead. There. All right. Red. Oh, it just kind of went right in for me, didn't it? Right. Swing that around. As much quicker with those beads, though I will tell you. So it looks like something in the bead. So the challenge is getting the bead flipped around there, but I'll measure this in a minute. I think we've still got a little ways to go. All right, again, we're using our lapis for our blue and our rainbow. Adds a little extra character. Let's see how long we are now. So we're good bracelet length if we were adding a clasp, so we will need a few more. I don't think I'll need that many, but you've got them out there just in case. All right. So what I'm trying to do is lay the bead down with, so I can twist the bead around so the hole goes through the middle. So I hope you guys are all having a good August. We got lots of rain here last night, which we desperately needed. All right, let me measure. So that's about a 7. Remember the clasp will add at least a ½ inch to an inch. Looks like we need at least another inch here. All right. Starting our rainbow over again. Since it rained here at night last night, we didn't get any rainbows last night. But, you know, we still celebrate the rain. Because we had a really dry summer. It's monsoon season, which means we were getting rains. Fortunately, you know, most of it comes at night, but it doesn't, you know, cool you off during the day because it's coming at night. But, you know, it doesn't mess up whatever you're doing. Why is there no yellow? That's weird. Where'd that go? Oh, well, forgot my red. My rainbow's out of order, which actually my beads weren't all in order on my strand here, so. Right, red. I don't know. We gotta do a rainbow in order, right? All right, where are we at now? Oh, 8 inches. Let's check. Actually, I think we're pretty good there. Let's add the yellow, and then I think what I'll do is add one end of the clasp, and then we'll see what that does for us. All right. No problem, Marianica. All right, I'm gonna put this end. It doesn't really matter which end of the clasp, so we had to use a toggle clasp. And we might have room to stick this back through, I don't know, but I'm not gonna leave a lot on there because I don't want to waste my cord. Okay. So we're just gonna use the magic crimper because these are, you know, magic, right? So stick it in the divot, center it in the divot, and squeeze. Make a ravioli shape. Go sideways. Squeeze again. And then if you gently turn and squeeze, you will end up with something nice and round, except when it slips on you and it doesn't quite get squished. There we go. So you end up with a nice little bead. All right. So let's see if we can get our tail through our crystal. That'll be the... Oh, it does fit. All right. And it's nice and tight, which means it'll hold, you know, hold your wires from coming apart. Oh my. So I don't know about you guys, you know, it being August, I'm starting to get my fall designs ready to take up to sell. I've got to make some turkeys, guys, and I'm offering to run a spider class, so okay. So actually this is gonna, I think it's a little, just a tad too long, so we may have to take off a little bit here, so, but let me cut this. Good to give yourself several inches, right? So let me take off those two. Now, you know, since I'm using a toggle, I want this to be fairly fitted to my length that I need. All right, I'm gonna pull that tight and check it. So for me, that's a good length, and it won't move around much. I don't know. It bothers me when it moves around on my ankle a little bit if they're too big, but I think this will be just fine. And I'll measure in a minute after I try to thread my tail through. Coming out there, yeah. That went pretty far. All right, let me grab that with my pliers. All right, like I said, make sure you have a little bit of flexibility. Double check on your ankle if it's for you, or double check the length if it's not for you before you put that final crimp on there. I think that works. And you know, if you're going to use a toggle for an anklet, I would probably most of the time use a lobster, just because, you know, it'll hold better. But you don't want, you know, it bouncing around with your toggle clasp, because then it's more likely to come off and you're going to lose it. So you want it to be fairly tight when you do it. All right, so we're doing our ravioli again. turning it sideways and squeezing. And then to get that. Doesn't move. All right. And let's trim that. And yay, we finished our anklet. All right, so just a reminder what we were supposed to make. So we had to make an anklet. So remember, that's at least 8 inches. So let's see what mine ended up being. And I might have a big ankle. I do have, you know, those big European bones in my... So it ends up being... Well, from end of the clasp to end of the clasp, it's 9 inches for me. Okay. For this one. All right. So we made an anklet. We have green in there. See, there's green a couple times, right? Lapis. We use lapis for our blue in our rainbow. So we've got a couple pieces of lapis in there. We used our toggle clasp. All right. And we had to use primary colors. So, you know, with the primary colors plus green, I figured might as well just do a rainbow, right? So we have our yellow, our red, and our blue primary colors, right? And I got to use these fun bead captures, which actually look, I think they kind of look really cool with the metal bead in there. Glad I finally found something that worked. Alrighty, well that was fun. Let me flip my camera. All right, thanks again for joining me. We'll be back on Sunday to draw for week 33 at our normal time. So it'll be noon on Sunday. And we'll do our bonus project, which this week, I don't know, it might be, I might play with this Saguaro Sunset bargain bead box this week. So we'll see. Did you know anything with saguaros or cactus? You gotta love it, right? So, all right. If you haven't already, please like and follow Desert Cat Creations on Facebook and Instagram, and subscribe to us on YouTube. We've almost broken 100 subscribers on YouTube, so I'm very excited. I mean, it takes a little bit at a time, but we're getting there. So really appreciate you guys supporting me and following me. You know, a free way to support small business is to like and follow their social media, you know, like and follow or like some of the posts. That helps get more people to see what we're posting, okay? And then we don't have to just rely on the same few people that hang out with us. All right. Like I said, I'll be back on Sunday, and if you guys have any questions, feel free to message Desert Cat Creations or send me an email. The email address should be available on all of the social media sites, right? So, if you want to order anything, you can order directly from me, or you can go to the website. And if you can't find something, just let me know, because sometimes updates do weird things to your things that are on your website and some of those other things, and I don't always know that you can't see them. All right. Thanks again. I will see you Sunday, noon Pacific. Have a great weekend. Bye.